Good morning and welcome into the Pats Nation. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe's with us in the booth, and you are watching us on YouTube. And when you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. There it is on the screen. Give us that thumbs up, like the show. That's what we're asking for. And leave a comment and give us a call and heated hotline, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. Message line 24/7. Leave us a message. We will pick one, or Joe will pick one that he likes and play it on the show. Or you can email us on in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. But if you're listening to us, you're doing it on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, anywhere you podcast, you can catch us. And make sure, hey, listen, get this Dolphins game today, but make sure you're tuning in within 30 minutes following this Dolphins game today. We're going to be back on with the Pats Nation for our live Patriots Post Game Show. That heated hotline I just gave you will be open and available for you to call into the show. We'll have our comment section open. You can chat in, call in, let us know what you think. Mark and I are going to have all the breakdown of that. But before that, in this show, we want to preview this Dolphins game. And we're going to do that in QB breakdown. We're going to go Pats preview and talk about the offensive and defensive keys to victory. And, of course, stick around for Sunday spread. I was 4-0 last week. Although I have to say, the Chargers game, I screwed up. When we recorded on Thursday, I thought the game was on Sunday. It was on Friday. I was still right, though.
Still a win.
Still a win. So, hi, guys. Good morning. Good morning.
Happy Sunday. Hopefully.
Happy Sunday. Yes.
Happy Sunday.
Well, I'm wearing my red shirt because they lost last week.
You might be wearing that a lot.
Right.
You might have to get another one because that's going to get worn out.
Yeah. This is a long sleeve shirt too, so it's like hot as hell right now, you know. But how do you guys feel about the fact that we're going to be doing a post game show today?
Oh, wonderful! Hopefully, it's you can wear your blue shirt today.
I'm hopeful of that. I am. You know,
I'm not. But okay.
Well, we're going to get to that in Sunday spread. But before we do that, you guys ready to talk about this game today?
Yeah, do we really have to? I get all aggravated again.
There's not a lot of enthusiasm coming out of Joe right now.
Oh, yeah.
Joe, I don't know what Joe is. What's Mercury retrograde, Joe? What he's sleeping over there? Come on.
Flat.
Can we get close?
Joe's flat.
Don't say that because we're going to be doing a live show later on today. So we don't want to talk about anything to do with Mercury retrograde and anything like that. But what we do want to talk about is we want to talk about the quarterbacks in this game, Tua versus Drake Maye. We're going to do it in QB breakdown. We're going to do it right now.
What I'm talking about.
That was a little taste.
I like that.
Mania taste just to get people excited for later on today.
I like that.
That is nice because that is going to be one of our segments later on today in our Patriots post game. We're going to have Drake Mania. We're going to have Coach's Corner. We're going to have our weekly rewind. We'll call it weekly rewind, but we're going to rewind the game and talk about it. And what's the most important thing we're going to have at the end of the show?
The Sunday
Bourbon?
Yeah,
No.
right. Not Canadian Mist, but our Sunday Stiff Mock's right.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure you're tuning in.
Listen, I know it's May Mania, but this week it's Mac Mania again, too. Remember we used to have Mac Mania? He's going to be starting for San Francisco because Purdy's injured.
For San Francisco, but
Purdy's injured.
Oh, no.
But talking about our starter and our player in Drake Maye, and let's hope we're not hearing anything like this.
And now with Maye back to pass, steps up. He's going to see throws from that pass. Hanging in the air is intercepted down the right seam. Paloma with the pick as Maye tried to hit Diggs, it appeared, running up the right seam, but couldn't really step into the throw as he was hit in the chest, and the Raiders have their first takeaway.
All right, Mark. So how do we of course, Bob Sosi and Scott Zolak on the call last week on the broadcast. How do we avoid that this week?
Well, maybe when he's getting hit in the chest, maybe don't make the throw. Maybe do the old Tom Brady and maybe just go down and protect the football, right? Maybe.
Well, we've been talking about protect the goddamn football.
That's something he hasn't learned yet, obviously. You know, he showed that in the preseason in the Minnesota game when he put the ball on the ground rather than just taking the sack, remember? I'm just trying to force something. So those are things, Chris. It's year 2 now, though. He should be learning these things, right?
Yeah, and this whole discussion, we had it yesterday on Corso and Catone.
And after we had a discussion on Corso and Catone, I went back and rewatched everything because you brought up some views, and I kind of disagreed with you. But then I went back and watched it. So, yeah, I'll put a little bit more on Drake than I originally thought, but I'm still not letting the coaching staff and the lack of talent on this team off the hook. But let's continue to talk about Drake.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm with you. I mean, it's you can't 46 times, and when we get to our keys to victory, you can't throw the ball 46 times again, and expect this kid who's trying to absorb the whole offense. He's trying to absorb this McDaniels offense and all of that. I mean, you can't. And, he was out of sorts last week. He looked disrupted. He looked uncomfortable is really what it was. And he was in the shotgun a lot. So all these throws he made that he overthrew, this was on him. His mechanics looked crappy. And he just didn't look comfortable. I mean, after that interception, they went punt, 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 field goal at the end. That's just unacceptable, and it's got to be on him. So for him to shed that now, he's got to get some help from McDaniels in the play calling department, like O'Connell last week with J.J. McCarthy. They were in a bad way. I brought this up yesterday. They were in a real bad way in that game against Chicago, weren't they? McCarthy looked terrible. Yep. Then all of a sudden, a few choice play calls
bailed him out.
And he got them back.
And
on
it was
track.
like McCarthy hit a switch, and
right.
Now
it's a lot easier to do, to Mark's point, in Minnesota with those running backs, with that offensive line, with that center, with just Jefferson, Adkins.
They got a good tight end.
Yeah, and so it is a different situation. But Mark, the mechanics. This is something that we heard from Greg Bedard, Boston Sports Journal, last week talking about Drake Maye's mechanics.
I did not think Drake Maye played really well today. I thought it was a continuation of what we saw in the preseason against the Commanders and especially against the Vikings. And I just don't think he was good enough, and I thought he was thoroughly outplayed by Geno Smith. Yeah, I can't say that it's the McDaniels offense or anything like that. I mean, what I see is just a sloppy quarterback. I mean, that first throw to DeMario Douglas, it didn't have anything to do with the guy was wide open. And there must have been 6 or 7 wide open receivers today that he missed, that he wasn't accurate with. And to me, that has nothing to do with the offense. That has to do with his sloppy mechanics sort of reverting back to, and I don't even think he made that much progress last year.
So how do we improve? What today happens today now after all that, Mark?
Well, Chris, first of all, listen, I get what Bedard's saying, right? And I do agree with what he's saying. However, they're going to have to run the ball, Chris. Right? So to take a little bit of that off of May, he played a sloppy game, mechanics. He was outplayed by Geno Smith. I get all that. But you're going to have to run a football, Chris. You can't throw the ball 46 times.
No.
First of all, you don't have the weapons to be throwing the ball 46 times. You have to establish some kind of a balance, which they didn't do.
I don't know. I don't have an answer to why he sped up. I don't know that. I don't know what's happening in his mind that makes him look so damn uncomfortable. When going back and looking at how many times he actually was in the shotgun, it was a lot. So he should become more comfortable than he is.
Chris, if you're going to throw the ball 40-something times against Miami, they got to. I mean, I know
the defensive front.
I know that the Raiders had, Max Crosby, but the edge rushers, the combination of the two, and the defensive tackle, they get a hell of a lot more pressure on the quarterback than the Vegas will.
Yes.
So if you put him back there 46 times, he's going to get killed against this team.
Now, I will say this. I don't like. You could see when he got out of the pocket and he was running. Okay. the little that he did, he immediately goes to the slide. Like they're drilling into him. Get down on the ground. I told you last week before the season began.
That takes away from a player's natural instinct.
Right. And
you're making him overthink it.
And I told you last week that I had a problem with that. I don't, say, well, you got to make him an NFL quarterback. He can't just run around on the field. No, you know what? That's part of his game. Part of how he flows.
Did you watch the game last Sunday night, Chris, against Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen?
No, I understand. He's not Lamar Jackson. Look, what I'm saying is this. This is what the people who don't play the game, that don't understand, that they're sitting there saying, I can't run the ball. Can't have him run the ball. Can't have him doing that. You got to protect. He's got to be able to sit there and throw the ball and read defenses. Yes, he does. Here's the problem, though. When you have a kid that's got that kind of athleticism and that's part of his game, and that's part of how he plays quarterback, okay, taking that away makes you uncomfortable immediately. It's like tying you up a little bit and saying, okay, I'm a southpaw that's now learning how to punch right-handed. Okay? So we're going to tie my arm down and we're going to just keep punch that bag till it hurts, right? Like rock. And so,
One more round.
Yeah, that's the whole thing that bothers me about this. You got to let his athleticism play out because it becomes part of the rest of the game and it enters into his mind. I'm not saying he's a mental midget and he can't handle things and he freaking, he's got, all whatever that, you know what I mean? But he is a human being and he's a young kid. And so if that's part of his game, don't stunt him. Let him use it to be comfortable out there while he's playing. To me, you get this kid more comfortable, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, agreed.
In my opinion, now, this is what he talked about it after the game a little bit himself.
What needs to happen for the offense to be better?
Yeah, I think it's something we're working hard to fix this week. We're going to get back, and there's one game that we wish we would have had, and it's like we could have had. But at the same time, I think we got pieces. We got guys that play hard and did a lot of good things on Sunday. So build off that and try to learn from that and establish the run and build off that. But I think that the goal is to everybody after week one's trying to kind of assess where they're at and get back there in week two. And I think it's my job to kind of get us going and like I said, try to start fast and from there just take what they give me, create positive plays. I think that's what we're trying to create, just positive plays. And from there, I feel like if we don't get our own way, I think we'll be fine.
Chris, anything like too much on your plate?
This kid listen, I think people forget this kid has played 40 games at quarterback since his senior year of high school. After his senior year of high school, including last season, he's played a total of 40 games. Daniels with Washington, Chris, played like 66, 68 games just in college alone, never mind last year. He played almost 70 games. He played almost, double the amount of games that he played. The kid is raw. The kid is inexperienced still. Like, people have to realize that, Chris. Plus the fact he's had like 3 or 4 different offensive coordinators between college, the NFL. Like, this kid is raw. He need, and listen, as bad as that coaching staff was last year, they didn't want him playing. If Jacoby Brissett showed something and had anything left in the tank, Chris, May wouldn't have played at all last year.
Right.
They would have kept Brissett starting the entire season, and May would have played this year. They wanted him to sit and learn and practice and understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think they were wrong with that idea. I believe Van Pelt probably had the right idea. I mean, they couldn't do it, but he probably had the right idea, Chris.
Listen, I mean, you got to get a team right now that you're going to play as a quarterback that allowed 418 yards of total offense from the Colts. The Colts got 400 yards of offense against this Miami defense last week. Mm-hmm. Put only 200, and of that, 156 yards running the ball. So,
what does that tell you?
You could take a little bit off his plate. They threw for 262 last week. So, I mean, you're playing Miami at a
By the way, that was with Daniel Jones as quarterback, Chris.
Right. So, I mean, and of that, and I'm glad you mentioned that because of those running yards, okay, and I'm looking to see how much Daniel Jones had 30 of that. So my point is, don't stunt the kid. So for this kid to have some success this week, to be more comfortable, you got to tap into his game, and his game is moving around a little bit.
Let me ask you this though.
Hurry up, because we got to go to break.
Should you be watching McDaniels or Drake Maye?
What do you mean?
As to see which one potentially, if what you just said, we should score a lot, and we don't. Should we be watching McDaniels or just Drake Maye in this scenario?
I mean both.
McDaniels, both.
Yeah,
both really, but like it's got to start with, the coach is the coach. I mean they're putting their. We're watching the coach in the sense of the disparity between the running and the passing game. I mean, what they did last week was absurd. You can't run the ball 3 times in the second half of that game. You can't be so damn stubborn to say, I'm not seeing the front I want, so we're not running the ball anymore. You just can't do that,
Right.
So, I mean, you're watching it in that sense, but you're looking at May. I mean, it's on him. Ultimately, at the end of the day, he's got to play better. I mean, that's it.
And
he's
Chris, part of the looks they were giving to stop the run was a byproduct of the fact that they weren't worried about anybody really on the outside that they had to stop. Like, you know what I mean, Chris?
Well, that's what happened in the second half. In the second half, you saw Miami. You saw the Raiders play a lot of zone in the first half of that game, and May was finding his first read,
and that's when Booty racked up a bunch of his yardage.
Right, and May was finding his first read, and it looked good. And all of a sudden, now with the zone, we weren't able to run the ball very much or very well. But then the Raiders then turned around and said, okay, nothing on the outside scares me. What are we doing here? Why are we playing such soft coverage? Let's tighten up. Even when they played zone, they still play man at times over it or under it and tightened it up, and they just tightened up the coverage. And at that point, they were able to put more in the box. Now New England's looking at this setup. Now New England's looking at the defense, looking at their alignment, saying, look at all the guys they got in the box. Just percentages wise, we're not going to be able to run the ball. And I think that's what Vrabel was talking about when he said we can't be so worried about the type of front that we see that we're not running the ball into it. What he means is in the second half of that game, they loaded into the box and they dared us to throw the ball. And basically said, we're not going to let you run the ball. We're going to put too many guys, our numbers are greater in the box. So you're going to have to throw the ball. We're going to tighten up our coverage because and now Mark's point is made. We don't have the weapons to bust out of that on the outsides. To take a team and say, you can't play us, man. Good luck.
Chris, teams are going to do that the entire season.
Right. It's a blueprint. So you got to figure out how to get out of it. And, you drafted Henderson. You needed Henderson instead of Luther Burden. Okay, you better freaking figure out a way to get the ball in his hands and use them right. That's all I can say. So we'll see. But we got to talk about the rest of the team, the rest of the offense, defensive strategies. But QB Breakdown was presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal New England Field, Saturdays, noon Eastern. Hey, we got Catone's comments, Yankees, Red Sox, B's and C's. So stick around for that. But we come back, going to go Pat's preview and talk about the offense. No flipping.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more Corso and Catone.
Saturdays at noon.
Back in with more Pats Nation. All right, guys, let's talk about what they need to do today, offensively, defensively. Let's start with the offense. We're going to do it in Pat's preview. We're going to do it right now.
Pat's preview.
Understanding, all the little details of all 3 phases and putting it together, tying it together. Defense had 3 and outs and we managed 3 points. Like that's complimentary football is not going to exist, and we're not going to win games if our defense can do that and we only manage 3 points. So there'll be times that we're going to need the offense to help us and possess the football longer. To help the defense, and when we get 3 and outs like that, the offense is going to have to do something, and when we do kick field goals, we'll have to make them. So again, just showing everybody how those things tie in.
All right, so that was, of course, Mike Vrabel last week talking about complimentary football. Mark, And when we got to the defense, I'm going to, talk a little bit about this too, because yesterday we at Corso and Catone, we weren't able to talk a ton about the defense, but you can't start the year dividing this team. Okay. And the worst thing that can happen to a locker room is when one side of the ball is outplaying the other side of the ball, and it's being pointed out in the
I don't
media.
think either side of the ball outplayed anybody last week.
But you know what I mean? Like,
you're right.
How about Mike address the fact that you allowed 9 plays over 20 yards last week? He kind of, we can't get that. We got to do better than that. We get 3rd and 20, when you got to get off the field to your veteran free agent corner that allowed that. I didn't hear him go into great detail on that. All I heard him say was, hey, we got 3 and outs and all we got was 3 points. He's right. But that wasn't the only problem last week. So looking at this week, what's the plan, Mark, from McDaniels and company offensively?
Well, Chris, so
remember now, look at what Indy did to this Miami team last week. Miami's got a great front.
Listen, couple things. Obviously, you got to establish the run, right? Miami showed they're vulnerable last week. You gave the stat 150 yards rushing, right? So the Patriots should, Chris, with the combination of Stevenson and Henderson and Gibson, they should be able to exploit.
And Drake Maye.
I'm going to get to that. They should be able to exploit the fact that they're going to, because Miami's going to struggle against the run all year, Chris. That's just not a strength of their defense. So you got to be able to do that. And if you can do that, Chris, you should be able to control the tempo of the game, right? Establishing a running game is going to be important because then you should hopefully control the tempo and mitigate not only that pass rush, but the heat and humidity down there.
Yeah.
Second half, every year we go down there and we're dragging because of the humidity, the temperature that early in the season. It's the humidity it's disgusting down there in September. You know how it is, Chris. You've been down there in August.
It's
right?
a real thing. It's not like
it's a real thing. They're not playing around with that. That's a real damn thing, right? So, with that said, Chris, you would think they could dip into McDaniels' playbook, and I say, he likes to utilize play action. I thought last week, Chris, that he struggled in play action. Now, you went back and watched the tape and said, no, Mark, it wasn't as bad as we thought it was. And I'll let you elaborate on that in a minute. Don't think he was comfortable with his back to the line of scrimmage, but you didn't think that was necessarily the whole story. But anyway, and the other important thing, Chris, and then I'll let you talk, I'm going to jump on is you hired, and I haven't heard anybody say this, Chris, you hired Thomas Brown as your passing game coordinator.
Yeah.
He had a background with McVay and Shanahan and their system. And I thought that's why he brought him on, right? And with that being said, I think people thought he'd be able to infuse into the offense more motion, RPOs, different types of things to play to the strength of May. That didn't happen last week. That's for damn sure. We didn't see that happen in the preseason. No. We didn't see it happen in the joint practices. So I don't know. We haven't seen any of that yet. So will we this week? I think you have to, Chris, to your point. You're going to have to play to this kid's strengths.
It's a good point because we heard this in the offseason in the OTAs about the collaboration. We heard about these guys collaborating with McDaniels and talking different ideas is what you kept hearing. They're bringing different ideas to the table. At the end of the day, McDaniels is going to call what he wants to call. He's going to run his practice how he wants to, his offensive practice, and you're not going to see it. And the problem, Mark, is that's it. This marriage is happening. Like there can't be a divorce at the end of the season where McDaniels leaves. You can't do that to Drake Maye now. You just can't. Drake Maye is the quarterback of this team for the foreseeable future for at least 2 more years. That's it. That's what's happening. Okay? Which means Josh McDaniels is his OC for the remainder of the time he's here.
You can't flip it again.
Right? Well, you've seen it. We've seen it. We've seen the result of that across the league. when you start rotating, revolving door of coaching staffs.
So,
and
Chris, what are your keys offensively this week?
So again, similar. I mean, I look at what Indianapolis did, and one of my biggest keys is to take the cuffs off May a little bit, let him use his legs a little bit more. I don't mind play action, that's fine, but play action isn't going to really work if you're not running the damn ball. So that's that's pointless. So yeah, you're going to find creative ways, and you're going to have to push people off the ball, and it's a tough thing to do against this front. But if Indianapolis did it, you can do it. This is a talented offensive line when it comes to run blocking, or that's how they're built. So I mean, they should be able to run the ball, and if you could do that, then everything sets off that, and May will be a little more comfortable. But you got to take the reins, you got to take the cuffs off him a little bit, Mark.
You know what was interesting? You brought this up yesterday on Corso and Catone. I don't know if they ran to Moses and Owenu's side.
I don't think so. I don't think
game.
I ran maybe once. They ran to the right side, which I mean, look.
What the hell was that about?
You're so worried about Crosby? Not in the run game. Yeah. Run at him. Do what they used to do to Parsons. Run at him. Yeah. So I think you're going to see a lot more, because I don't think Vrabel was happy with all of that either. And so I think you're going to see a lot more coming from the run game, a lot more creative ways to get the ball in Trevion Henderson's hands. I don't know if you're going to see Stevenson on the field as much this week as you did last week. I think you're going to have to see them all contributing, Gibson as well, only because of the weather, because of this kind of heat and what you got to pay attention to guys and how many reps that they're getting out there. But yeah, establishing the run is going to be a key to this. Ball control on offense and opening up some of that play action. I thought that Diggs got better as the game progressed. I mean, that's what you're going to get out of him. I mean, that's pretty much what you're going to get out of him for the first quarter of the season. Yeah. And listen, it's better than nothing. I mean, he caught 6 passes, 7, whatever he caught, 6 or 7 passes. Yeah. Fine. And there were a couple times he was open too, that the ball wasn't thrown to him. So, I mean, I think the talent is, I think they have enough talent to beat this team offensively. They do. I do. And I think the talent stinks. I'm not saying that it's great, but I think they got enough to beat this team. But don't get wrapped up in what you saw happen against Indianapolis last week with the Dolphins, everybody out there.
Yeah. And let me ask you this. Do you think you'll see Chism active this week?
I do. I mean, Pop Douglas had 2 catches for -2 yards. Explain something to me, just so I understand, because maybe I'm just stupid. But you and I like Douglas in the draft. We had him in the 6th round. He's a 6th round receiver. Let's not get crazy. But you draft this guy in the 6th round. What the hell is out of Liberty? You tell me what the big difference is, that it's such an outrageous idea to play Chism over Douglas. And it's just beyond outrageous. This guy was undrafted coming out of Eastern Washington, where he broke every one of Cooper Kupp's records. What's the difference between these 2 guys? It's not like one guy went to Alabama.
Yeah, listen. I don't know. It's not like one guy, you're right, was drafted out of Alabama as a top 10 pick, and now all of a sudden you're going to use an undrafted guy over him. I mean, yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I thought maybe they rested him they didn't play him last week because, he was just getting back to being a full participant in practice. I'm hoping that's all it was, Chris. And I'm hoping this week now you say, okay, he was a full participant last week. He didn't show up on the injury report this week, I don't think, as limited or did not play, not yet, or did not participate, not yet. So I'm assuming he was a full participant again. So now I'm hoping this week, he's active.
Tell me about the offensive line. Do you because yesterday we didn't really cover it a ton. What did you think of the performance last week, and what do you need to see now with the minute 2 we got left in this segment? I didn't think it was awful. I didn't think it was beyond bad.
Listen, I didn't think it was awful. I didn't think Campbell played that bad, Chris, and I didn't think Wilson played that bad. Yeah, listen, there were a couple of lapses. There were a couple of penalties. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't clean. But if you look at Pro Football Focus, I think they had Campbell rated as like 19. The 17th, 18th, 19th. That's not, listen, for his first start, Chris, you get him up to, 13, 14. I mean, that's the upper half of the tackles in the league.
Right.
We can live with that.
And one of the sacks that they not credited, I guess, dinged on him wasn't his fault. Drake Maye stepped right into it. He stepped into the sack. I mean, so no, I didn't
think the line played that bad.
I thought they were terrible in the running game. I'll say that.
They were. In the running game, they were bad. I'm talking about passing game. Running game, Chris, they were bad. And that was supposed to be their strength.
They only ran the ball 12 times with the back. So how bad? You can't establish anything that way.
But, Chris, the running game was supposed to be the strength of this offensive line. We talked about that. And yet they didn't tap into it. Why? Because of the looks and because of the fronts that the Raiders were showing. I mean, listen, the Raiders' defensive line, Chris, isn't the 86 Bears.
No.
85 Bears. So come on.
No, so that's it. I mean, so to me, I think I like I said, I thought the offensive line wasn't terrible, wasn't bad. I thought Campbell played okay. I mean, he played like a middle of the road tackle, which is what we've been asking. We're gonna get out of him. So we'll see what we got to get from the running game. Got to get whatever gets Drake Maye more comfortable. And if that means let this kid cook, let him move around, let him get out and run a little bit to get himself right, to slow the game down for him. Believe it or not, he's sped up. He's just sped up. So slow it down for him.
Witcher-Call was not a participant in practice today, I believe. Moses.
He came back. He came back today.
Today. Because he didn't participate. Okay.
So he came back and was a limited participant. So I think he's going to play. I think that with him, it's more about his age, and I think it's more load management with him.
Okay.
With Moses, you'll see that all season long. So I think they're going to be intact at least on the offensive line. But so the keys to look at, see if Chism gets in this game at all, and see what they do with the running game, and let's get May settled down. But this portion of Pat's preview was, and by the way, you know what else they got to get right? According to Mike Vrabel, they have to get right the
play caller,
who he completely threw under the bus last week. Mark.
Oh, positively.
But this portion of Pat's preview was presented by Corso Law Group, corsolawgroup.com. When we come back, going to continue in Pat's preview. We're going to continue talking about the defense now and see what we can get done from that friggin' display last week. No flipping.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to corsolawgroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Ranking my disappointment level with what I saw on Sunday out of the Patriots, I would say, number one, Mike Vrabel. I didn't think he had this team ready to go. I raised these concerns during training camp. I pointed out that he was 0-3 in his last 3 Titans season openers. The Patriots last year, a year ago, were much more ready to go week 1 than these Patriots. Was the special teams. They were a train wreck. And when you're talking about a team that's going to have to win in the margins for a little bit, you got to make the field goal. You can't have 2 horrendous punts. You can't have special teams penalties that ruin field position. 3 was the defense. I expected more out of this unit. To give up 9 pass plays of 20 or more yards is embarrassing. I put a lot of that on Terrell Williams, the new defensive coordinator. I thought he came into this game like he wasn't going to get another chance to call another game ever. He threw the whole bag out there. And considering their level of practice, preparation, game reps, the unknown with a rookie at safety and Jalen Hawkins being put in a different position, no Christian Gonzalez, like, whoa, can we wait a minute? I mean, the first drive of the game, the first touchdown, it was 3rd and 11. Do you know what he called? Defensive tackles were playing middle linebacker on 3rd and 11, maybe 3rd and 5 because you think they might go for a quick hitter, get to the sticks. But 3rd and 11, you have Christian Barmore dropping back at middle linebacker. I mean, what the hell are we doing?
Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal following the game last week. Mark, I agree. I agree with him. And I'm an aggressive coach. I'm an aggressive play caller. I like the blitzing. So I don't know if I'm upset about the amount of blitzing, amount of pressure that they were. I'm upset about the lack of preparation on the back end when they did it. and some of the ways they did it, Mark. They allowed 389 yards to the Raiders. I get they got Brock Bowers. I get it. Geno Smith's a vet. But that's pretty much it. You allowed 389 yards to this.
So the one thing, Chris, I agree with Badad. I agree with what you said. But the one thing I'm going to push back, okay, is so Badad says this team was much more prepared last year in week 1, played better in week 1. Yeah, I know they beat Cincinnati. I get that. Cincinnati wasn't prepared to win. Cincinnati got 11 total yards.
That was more about Cincinnati.
That was more about Cincinnati. So I'll disagree with Badad on that point. And the second point I'll disagree with Badad on is last year's team was still playing in a defensive system with talent that fit that system. That was a carryover from Belichick. So there was some cohesiveness there. Okay. This is an entirely new system with entirely new talent. They're learning entirely new concepts. It's a work in progress. So you're in a different phase defensively than you were week 1 last year. I'm not making that as an excuse, but you're not comparing apples to apples, orange to oranges. So when Badad makes that comment, well, okay, it's nice to make it. It's shock value for talk radio, right? But you're not really making a fair comparison either. And that kind of, so we call it how it is here. So yeah. But no, I will agree, they didn't look good defensively. Chris, you're right. You love to bring pressure, but what the hell what they were doing with that is,
I mean, the thing I'll agree to his point on with the pressure is to everything you're saying is correct. So because of I think what he's saying, because of the newness of it, then be a little more conservative.
I agree.
Before you start jumping into all these types of exotic looks. At least that 3rd and 11 really pissed me off.
Oh, the 3rd and 11, you went wild over that.
Now, but see, I don't have a problem with the pressure on 3rd and 11. Whatever problem with the much pressure is not understanding the other side of the ball. Geno Smith is a guy that's seen things. He's been around this game. You're not going to rattle him, with different looks and pressures and all that. He's, that's it. If they pick it up, he's going to find the open guy. What pisses me off more about it, and it happened on the 3rd and 20 last week too, okay, is the back end wasn't prepared for it, meaning the secondary, the defensive backs, the safeties in the corner. They weren't ready for the kind of pressure that they were going to be bringing. And that's what bothers me. I mean, I understand Hawkins is playing out of position. He's, new at it or whatever. Listen, you learn in high school, you can't sit flat foot when you're bringing pressure on a long yardage situation. You can't just sit flat-footed at the sticks, at the 3rd down marker. You can, and allow guys and just stare into the backfield while a guy runs by you. That's not on the play caller. That's on the player. I mean, come on. Davis, you allow 3rd and 20. So back to this week now.
So, Chris, what's the keys on defense this week? So,
to me, look, you had a situation last week. Look, you got to try to take advantage. This is one of those games where you got a team that's reeling with Miami right now. Okay. Mm-hmm. In that there's a lot of drama going on. Now you have Tyreek Hill that's dealing with something, he's dealing with possible domestic violence issues and, the league's looking at him and
not to interrupt you. The league's looking at him. Oh, by the way, you called this out the minute the Worthy injury happened.
Yeah.
And it comes out this week. Kansas City picked the phone up and asked if they could,
he's available.
Make a deal for is he available.
Right. Sucks, man. I don't want to see that happen. Because he'll get all kinds of life going back there.
Oh, he'll drink from the fountain of youth. They'll bring him back for like he's 5 years younger.
So you have a team that only had 12 first downs last week in Miami. 12. Okay, in the whole game. They were 5 of 10. They were 1 of 2 on 3rd down. The total plays were 46. 46 total plays for an NFL team is pitiful. You should have at least 60, 65 plays. Okay. 211 yards total offense. Okay. 133 yards pass. It was bad. Okay. It was bad. And that was against Tennessee, who's not a good team. So, but you're a get-right team for them. Just like they're a get-right team for you. Let's not forget that, people. that you are one of the teams that everybody circles on your calendar to say, well, we got to get right against the Patriots because they suck. You've got to come out of the gates. Now, this is a game that I will tell you I wouldn't mind seeing some pressure on Tua, because Tua will throw the ball and put the ball in harm's way. He will do it.
You should be able to force him into turnovers, right, Chris?
Right. They had 3 turnovers last week. How many of those were on Tua? He had 2 interceptions. So he's a guy that will force the ball. He'll throw it into harm's way. Not having Gonzalez hurts you this week. Okay? But I do think
we're assuming he's not gonna be playing, right?
I don't think he's going to be playing. Right? Yeah, he's not going to play. I don't think he's going to play. So my point is, the key this week is, and what you didn't see last week, because I don't think Terrell Williams and I'm not sure who's going to be actually coaching in this game, because he has another medical issue or some kind of an issue that kept him out of practice this week again, the defensive coordinator. So that's going to disrupt some things too. The front 4 for New England. Is the front 4 going to be able to get pressure on Tua on their own? Because they didn't last week. It wasn't about the front 4. It was about pressure. It was about blitzing. It was about sending extra guys for the Patriots. They got to be able to do it with the guys they have on the front 4, meaning Landry, Chason, Milton Williams. Mm-hmm. That's who has to be able to get to the quarterback to be able to keep Spillane. And by the way, Spillane's not a sideline-to-sideline guy. I mean, he's a guy that's read and react, but you're going to have to be able to play on the back end, especially with Waddle and Hill and dealing with those crossers. You're not going to be able to play a ton of zone against this team. You're going to have to play a little more man, which means your front 4 is going to have to be the ones that contain and get the Tua. Can they do it, Mark? Because that's what it's going to take.
Listen,
you got to flood the middle of the field for those crossing patterns. You can't just,
Chris, they're going to have to create consistent pressure, because, as you mentioned, Tua will turn the ball over if you force him into pressure situations. And you're going to have to get pressure on him, Chris, because the longer he sits back there, especially without Gonzalez, because let's face it, Gonzalez is the one who used to cover Tyreek Hill. They will get open with that speed down the field if you give Tua enough time to, and enough time for them to get loose. So let me ask you this defensively, Chris.
Yeah.
Would you try to bracket Hill and Waddle? Now, I don't know if you got the secondary depth or talent to do it, but would you try to do some kind of bracketing to neutralize their speed and to neutralize the fact that you don't got Christian Gonzalez?
The problem with trying to bracket Hill, okay, if your idea is that it's a zone coverage look, meaning it's over-under against them, he finds space. He runs away from it. Now, if your idea is to say, I'm going to pressure him, I'm going to put pressure on him off the line and honestly double him, like an honest double team, then you have to say to yourself, is Davis capable and willing and able to one-on-one take care of Waddle?
That's a big ask, Chris. I mean, I think Hill's lost a step or two. I mean, he's not the same Tyreek Hill, right, that he once was.
And I'm talking about on Waddle for Davis, yeah. But
Waddle. I'm sorry, I thought you said Hill. No, Waddle, Chris. Listen,
if you're going to bracket Hill, then you got to play somebody
you're gonna have
on
to play,
Davis.
So can you play? Do you trust Davis to handle Waddle one-on-one?
I'd like to see it. I want to see it. I'd like to see that happening, and I'd like to see you take your safety, whether it be Woodson and a combination of Austin and Woodson, or Marcus Jones, who I think will be better suited with his speed to be able to play that under coverage against Hill. So if you're going to use Marcus Jones as your under coverage against Hill, and you're going to use Woodson over the top of him, something like that, yeah, I'd like to see that happen. But all that is income. It requires us to be able to keep Tua contained in the pocket and get consistent pressure on him with four.
Chris, if you get pressure on him with 4, I think if you can disguise coverage, you'll definitely force him into turnovers, because, I mean, that's what we used to do with him. We would disguise coverage, at least when he used to come to New England. Down in Miami, we've never had much success limiting him down there, Chris.
He's 7-0 against the Patriots.
Yeah.
We've never beaten Tua. That's disgusting.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting, Chris. That's totally disgusting. Totally disgusting.
So understand, it's a get-right game for them, too.
Devon Achane has speed. Remember, was it a couple years back? He came up to New England. He ran all over us. Remember?
Yep. Yeah. So again, it's once again, and you're also dealing with your undersized defensive front that's able to, but they were pretty good against the run New England last week.
They were.
You know, they did a good job, our defense against their run. Although I thought the Raiders could have run the ball and probably should have run the ball, and wouldn't have been as difficult of a game for them to win as it was, in my opinion. But again, so you know, that's to me is what we're going to see. But if you're going to jump on this team, Mark, overall to end, if you're going to jump on this team, you're going to have to do it early, because this is a team that's kind of a mess right now. If you heard McDaniels talking, their head coach this week, I don't know what word salad he was talking about, but he sounded like I don't know what he's on or what he's doing down there. Okay. But this guy is out of sorts. And this team is not playing for him right now. And so if you give them any life in this game, that's a problem.
Yeah. He went down there. He turned into Tony Montana. He thinks he's down there. He's Miami. Walked out of Miami Vice.
He walked out of Miami Vice.
He walked out of Miami Vice.
So to us, those are our offensive and defensive keys to victory. Also, along with
play caller.
Absolutely. So we're going to have to make sure that we get all of that right. But Pat's preview was presented by Corso Law Group, CorsoLawGroup.com. But we at Corso Law Group? No, we're at Corso and Catone, the real deal New England Field, Saturdays, noon Eastern. Make sure you're tuning in to Catone's comments, B's and C's, Yankees, Red Sox, all of that. And next week, we're going to have our breakdown of this game. So make sure you're tuning into that. But when we come back, going to make you some money like we did last week. Sunday spread is next.
Mark, I'm serious. I think I lost my mind.
Certainly, it was an exciting show.
I want Murray.
That's
it.
What is wrong with
Get him on this damn show.
you? Lost your mind tonight.
That's all I have to say.
Lost your mind.
What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the real deal New England Field. It's going to be real.
The play caller.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, not Corso, the Pats Nation. Sorry. Joe, where am I right now?
What is happening? You started the bourbons early.
That is.
No, don't even.
The Bloody Marys are flowing and ready.
You got to ease in. Bloody Marys.
I got to go. We got to all go easy because we, of course, have our Patriots Post Game Show.
We might, listen, depending on how bad this game is, we might be drooling on ourselves during the post game show.
Well,
forget it.
If nothing else, that's worth tuning into. So make sure roughly 30 minutes following. Joe, if
it gets bad enough, just prop me up in the chair like Weekend at Bernie's and just, use AI to have me speak. Do something.
Joe, tell everyone, what are you going to have on the screen? So if somebody, right after the Patriots game ends today, after the game ends and we're going to be coming on, getting our stuff together, you got to have a little thumbnail up or something with a little timer, or what do you got going on?
What do you got, Joe?
Nah, nothing.
Nothing. No. Okay. We're just gonna have to guess. No.
No, we'll have a screen up at least to show them that we're starting.
It's coming up soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure you're tuning in 30 minutes following the game today for our post-game show, the only Patriots post-game show. I want to hear from you in Heated Hotline. When we do that, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. Call us. You can get in the show live. Let us know what you think. And, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, guys. You ready to make some money?
Let's do it.
Okay. So, last week, no sound, Joe. I'm waiting for him to scare the hell out of me with it, because every week he scares the living crap out of me with this sound that he always plays. And there it is.
I thought you took it out of the.
Yeah. So anyway, last week I was 4-0, although I can't give myself credit for that. I mean, I'm going to give myself credit for the Chargers game, because I was picking the game on Thursday and it was on Friday. I just thought it was on Sunday. But,
Chris, real quick, tell them your theory. What you think you're going to win $4 million? Tell them real quick.
So I'm going to pick. I'm going to do a parlay every week. I'm going to pick every game, like 14 games. Bet a few hundred.
And if you hit every one of them,
it's like $4 million.
Joe, if he hits for that, we're going to have to do the show ourselves the following week because he's going to disappear off the grid.
They'll never see me again. That's it. No one will ever see or hear from me again. That'll be it. All right, guys, let's go. Let's get to the locks of the week. You want to start with the Patriots first and pick that game?
We got to pick the game. So, yeah.
So it's a point and a half. Patriots are getting a point and a half, 43.5 of the over. What do you
got? Miami will win this game. I think Miami gets a little healthy. I think it's going to be like 31-17 Miami, 31-20 Miami.
Okay. For me, I got
Miami. I think this coach from Miami, you're right, he's going to get fired, Chris, before the season's over. But I think today they get right.
I think the Patriots are not going to do what I'm saying, which is jump on them early, take advantage of bad football early. And the fact that they're a lost team right now, Miami's going to get a little life in them at the beginning of the game, and I think it's going to end up 27-20. Dolphins are going to win this game. So sorry, everybody, but that's what I picked.
Miami, yeah.
So, Joe, what do you think? You still going with a loss on this one, or?
I had him as a loss, right?
Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay. All right, Mark, what do we got? Make these people some money.
Listen, I'm gonna unload and I'm gonna load up on and take this one to the bank, gentlemen. It's gonna be an annihilation game. I'm gonna give the double-digit points. Baltimore.
Wow.
At home against Cleveland. Cleveland's
what's the spread? You gotta tell us.
Like 11.5, 12, depending on what you're looking at. Baltimore's favorite at home. After the way they lost Sunday night, they're gonna kick Cleveland's face in because Cleveland stinks. They're going to kick their face in. The game's going to be a blowout.
That is. And it's going to be a blowout early in the game. Like first
blow
quarter,
them out of
the
water.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
First quarter, you're going to know it's over this game.
Yeah. Yep. They're going to kick their face in.
So that's one of your locks. One of
my locks. Yeah.
One of my locks. And I don't want it to be. I really don't want it to be. Okay. But it's going to be. Kansas City's getting a point and a half at home.
Oh, don't you say it.
Against Philadelphia. Actually, to be honest, I have two locks. This one I won't say this is the lock of the week, because I think Pittsburgh is. But Kansas City is going to end up winning this game. You know, getting a point and a half from Philly. Something about Philly in that Cowboys game bothered me. Didn't like how Philly started this season. You know, they won the game. I get it, but like there were a lot of issues that I saw from Philly and Kansas City. They just drive you crazy this way. They win games that way. You know.
Yes. And you know what's funny, Chris? The first 6 games of the season, Kansas City plays the Chargers, who technically I know it was a Charger home game, but it was in Brazil, so it was a neutral field game.
Ridiculous.
They play Philadelphia.
At home.
They play Baltimore at home. Like
Buffalo, I think, at home too, right?
Yeah. I mean, come on, Chris.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, but take Kansas City. I think they're going to find a way to win. They're who you were several years ago, the Patriots. So they're going to find a way to win that game. Who's your next pick?
So my next pick, Chris, I tell you what I'm going to do here, Chris.
What's he going to do, Joe?
I like Carolina against your favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. I think Carolina is too good to go 0-2. They're getting a touchdown. I think this game will be a close game. If Arizona does beat them, it'll be a field goal game. I'm going to take Carolina, getting the point.
Because of the points.
Because of the points.
So Arizona still may win the game, but they're just not going to cover that.
And I'm going to tell you, yes. And I'm going to tell you this.
Or meaning, yeah.
I'd put in a teaser. I would do Carolina and I'd tease down Baltimore.
I made a lot of money last week in teasers.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
16 teasers and I hit them. I had a 5-team and a 6-team, and I hit them both.
You get double-digit points from Carolina, and you'll tease down Baltimore too, to under a touchdown.
Right. So the other one I kind of alluded to, and I'm getting these lines from DraftKings. Joe wanted me to mention that last week. I know that local area you can get them from. I think what is it, FanDuel with MGM or something over there?
Yeah.
Where you're getting the lines, but they're all pretty similar. I got Pittsburgh at home against Seattle, giving Seattle 3 points at home. listen, I just don't see Seattle coming into Pittsburgh and beating them. I think Pittsburgh's defense is going to play much better than they did last week against the Jets. They didn't look as good as I thought they should have. I think they're going to get to the quarterback over there. And again, Darnold. I don't think it's going to be a nice homecoming for Darnold coming, or I'm sorry, not homecoming. I think Aaron Rodgers will have a good game. I thought he played okay in that Jets game. And I think they'll have enough to beat Seattle at home. And so I like that. To me, that's the lock of the week. You got another one? Because I got one more.
Yeah, I'm going to take, believe it or not, Chris, I'm going to take Detroit at home.
What's the line?
I know it's
the line. Give us the line.
It's 6.
Okay.
But I think Detroit's going to get healthy at home. I've come around to your thinking, Chris. I think Caleb Williams stinks.
They're playing Chicago.
Yes, they're playing Chicago. Caleb Williams. Listen, he had a Dunce wide open, way overthrew him Monday night. If he hits him like a good quarterback is supposed to, Minnesota loses the game.
Agreed.
Right? It's just way overthrown. And then in the first half, you want to talk about somebody who was nervous. Luther Burden ran by the corner in the seam and was wide open for a touchdown. All you do was hit him. And Williams didn't even check down. I don't know what he's checking down for. The guy's sprinting up the field for a touchdown. There was no deep safety. So I think Williams stinks, Chris. Detroit's going to get even.
Yeah.
They're going to get healthy. And they're going to blow out. They're going to beat Chicago by more than 6.
The other game that I like, and again, I think that I'm not a huge J.J. McCarthy guy. I mean, everybody.
I looked at that Minnesota game. I like them too.
Everybody's falling in love with J.J. McCarthy from Minnesota, basically saying this is the guy we should have taken. We should have traded down. The big games,
I don't know about that.
And all that because he's got the look and he's got the attitude, and everybody's pumping and high fiving. But they're going to get through a lot of games that way. And what the little secret sauce over there in Minnesota is Kevin O'Connell. I mean, to me, he's the best offensive coordinator in football. He's the head coach.
Wait until they get the other receiver back after week 3, Jordan Addison.
And to me, he's the best OC in football. And I just, it's their home opener, right?
Yeah, home opener.
They're playing Atlanta, and they're giving Atlanta 3.5 points. Now, I kind of didn't make this the lock because of the half, where it's 3.5 points instead of just 3. If it was just 3, that would be my lock of the week. But still, even so, take Minnesota. Minnesota's that spread will be fine. They'll probably win by a touchdown or more against Atlanta. I know Atlanta showed okay against Tampa, but Tampa laid down a little bit in that game too. So I think you take Minnesota with that 3.5 points mark, and I think you'll be fine. And teases are on the table across the board with all of our picks. Make sure you look at
quick
that.
stat before I know we're against it.
Mm-hmm.
You and I talked about, is Vrabel, everyone's talking about Vrabel. Is he the right guy? Everyone thought he was, blah, 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 blah. We want an offensive guy. Just put this in your brain before week 2. Okay. Vrabel's final 2 years at Tennessee, Chris, he choked a 4-game lead in the division. He went from 7-3 to 7-10 down the stretch. Most penalized team in the league from 2022 on. Combined record of 6-18 in his last 24 games in Tennessee. And he lost to the 1-12 Texans, who were abysmal that year at Tennessee. So food for thought. I don't know. We thought he was a good hire, but after last week and then going back and looking at his last 2 weeks, I don't know.
And they had 8 penalties last week too, the Patriots did.
Most penalized team in football he was his last 2 years there. Go ahead.
The play caller.
So we'll see. But anyway, the Pats. So those are the locks of the week. Remember, hey, bet for want, not for need. Bet for want, not for need. Bet responsibly. The Pats Nation was presented by Corso and Catone, Saturdays, noon Eastern. Going to have our post game of this game next Saturday. Our breakdown of the Dolphins game. So tune into that and come back today. 30 minutes following this Dolphins game today, we will be back on the Pats Nation for our live Patriots Post Game Show. Heated hotline will be open for you, 855-313-7287 or PATS, P-A-T-S. make sure you give us a call, get in on the show, chat in, call in. We're going to have lots of breakdown later on today, and come back next week to this show where we're going to have our breakdown of the Steelers game, our first look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. So make sure you're tuning into that. We are the Pats Nation. Enjoy the game. See you after.